Hi, I'm Rachel, and today I'm supposed to be downtown in DC at the Natural History Museum with my niece going through the newly reopened dinosaur wing, but my niece got sick and our plans were canceled. So, as Steve Donahue might say, I'm consoling myself with a book haul. Although I think he usually does tags to console himself, but I have a book haul. This is my June 2019 book haul. In fact, I actually bought all of these books last weekend at my used library bookstore. Back in May, I went to the Gaithersburg Book Festival and propelled myself down this self-feeding addiction where I bought some books from the Friends of the Library there, and they gave me a coupon for $3 off of a book at one of their bookstores, expiring at the end of this month, so I went ahead and I used it. So here's the thing. When I stop at the Capitol Hill used bookstore in Capitol Hill, it features an upstairs, story that's completely crammed with fiction books. And yet, I usually can only find one book on my TBR when I'm there, and it takes a bit of a search. But whenever I go to my library's used bookstore, I find this. Well, actually, this is a little heavier than my usual haul that I get there, but I found it through only one pass through the store. I bet if I went back I would have found more, but I stopped myself. Those were all books that I already pre-existingly had on my TBR list, because I have a rule for myself that I usually don't break, that whenever I go used book shopping, I only get things that are already on the list. And when I need a box to be able to carry all of those home, I feel like I've gotten enough, even with a coupon involved. So I thought I'd go through the list quickly now. These are mostly literary fiction books published a couple of years ago. I'm in a cycle now, I guess, where I'm in the know about new publications. I put them on my list, and a couple years later I can hope to see them, at least at my library bookstore. So I'll start with this one. This is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. It came out in 2016 by Riverhead Books. And it is the story of some people living in an African-American community in Southern California. The mothers, I believe, act as a chorus to the problems of some young people. I've heard some good things, and it's blurbed on the back by Angela Flournoy, whose book, The Turners, I'm currently reading and enjoying right now, so I'm optimistic. Next I have The Futures by Anna Petoniak. This one was published in 2007 by Little Brown and Company. I've never really put that publication info out before, but I guess I'll run with it. This is about a young couple trying to make their way in New York, I believe. I'm a fan of youngsters trying to make their way and the lessons they might learn. Hopefully they learn something engaging. Next I have The Veins of the Ocean by Patricia Engel, which I thought maybe this was a more newly released paperback, but looking at it more closely, this is an uncorrected proof from Grove Atlantic Press, and it was published in 2016. I'm pretty sure I heard about this one through one of the Book Riot podcasts. It's about a Latin American family and a crime that tears them apart a little bit, I would assume, and how they deal with it. And I'm curious to read about these issues and how they affect this particular community. Next I have a series of Holocaust-adjacent books, which I obviously do read or put on my TBR, even though I feel like I don't. Although these are not memoirs or anything like that, these are, recently published fiction. This one is Unspeakable Things by Kathleen Spivak. It takes place in New York in the 1940s with a refugee family, and obviously music plays a part. This one is Stolen Beauty by Lori Lico Albanese. It starts in 1903 in Vienna. I believe it starts as a love story, and then nearly 40 decades later we follow one of their descendants when the Nazis invade. And then this one is Strangers in Budapest by Jessica Keener. This one takes place much closer to now. It takes place after the fall of communism. An American couple moves to Budapest during that time and are asked by a neighbor to look in on a Jewish World War I vet who is there, also from America, I believe. It seems like he is in Budapest to exact some sort of revenge. So I guess that'll give it more of a thriller vibe. Hopefully it'll jive with me and my snooty literary fiction tastes. So those give relatively diverse entryways into the Holocaust as a theme. But to move away from that into other Jewish fiction, I have Rich Boy by Sharon Pomerantz as my final book. For some reason, I thought this was published in the 80s, but it's actually from 2010, from a Hachette imprint. But anyway, I will read from the flap. Robert Vishniak is the favored son of Oxford Circle, a working-class Jewish neighborhood in 1970s Philadelphia. Handsome, charming, and clever, he employs his considerable gifts to move ever higher on his social ladder. In his decades-spanning journey of self-invention, Robert glides from hardscrabble beginnings to the elite universities of New England. With growing ambition, he ensconces himself among scions of unimagined wealth and influence, building a future that he believes will eclipse his humble past. Ultimately, he finds himself in the highest circles of Manhattan society, at the heart of the heady Reagan boom. But as so often is the case, it takes but a single fleeting occurrence to change a life, and in Robert's case it threatens to undermine his achievements and unravel his carefully constructed identity. 10 years in the making, Sharon Pomerantz's Rich Boy is a sweeping novel of class, sexual rebellion, money, and love. A tapestry that interweaves the lives of poor and middle class and supremely wealthy. Rich Boy shows us 4 decades in an American century through the eyes of one ceaseless dreamer. It is a book that looks fearlessly at both our desire to remake ourselves and the price we pay for the privilege. So yeah, there's something sort of specifically American about this, about, I guess, American idealism with that capitalist tinge. I think I was thinking of the 80s because of, that Reagan reference and that idea of the materialism of the 80s. It's a bit of a hefty book, but it's on my list, so I'm going to try to get to it. So that about covers it for me now. I guess I feel a little bit better, even though I'm not, with my niece at the dinosaur wing. I certainly have plenty of reading I should be occupying my time with, and also some writing goals I hope to get to today, because we're at the end of the weekend here, and I have to dive back into the work week soon. I'll leave links to all of the Goodreads pages for these books down below. Hope you all are having a good weekend as well. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.